Hi, my name is Kristen Recker, and right off the bat, I want to say that I'm changing my mind. In reflection, I realize that my sphere of influence is not what I was idealistically hoping it would be, but it's in fact where I am every day, what I think about most of the day, even what I dream about. My students and my classroom are my sphere of influence because they're impacted by me every day. And my school is a social media network. When I'm there, everybody's connecting with everybody and collaborating with everybody. And when I posted what I wanted to do in week one, I really wasn't thinking about it, but um, I'm a teacher and a mom, and I've got to affect or influence people right where I am every day, which is, of course, right where God has asked me to be, doing what He wants me to be doing. I also realized that my failure last week was not posing a question. When I posted my fable online for Facebook responders, I didn't give them a question to think about. I realize how detrimental that is. You don't pose a question for people. They don't know how to respond. They don't engage. And as a teacher, I know better than that. So that's what my post is about today. My reflection is really about I want to create knowledge able people, not people who are knowledgeable. That's Wesh's idea that knowledge able people are more willing to engage with the material. Paulo Freire, years and years ago in the 1970s, talked about the banking model of education where we as authority give students the information and give them the information and they collect it to debit it later on and reproduce it later on for someone for some purpose. But this isn't the world we live in anymore, and this is not the kind of education that our kids are getting. So I want to create a new sphere of influence where I am a problem posing teacher, where I ask the questions in order to engage the response. So in this way, instead of making the deposits, I'm asking them to access what Wesh calls the entire body of human knowledge, where we can connect and share and collaborate. I'm asking them to debit from there and use it and manipulate it and create new information in ways that make sense to them. So I just really want, I guess, when I'm thinking about what I want from my students, I want them to be able to co-create their new perspectives, and I want them to be able to actively engage with whatever is already out there in order to just generate new ideas in their own minds and be able to publish it in new and just different ways. How can I do that? Well, I can encourage them to be responsive, flexible, critical thinkers in an ever-changing world. I can harness the ideals of Ikejiro Nonoka, where I push this equilibrium in what my students are doing. When what they're reading on the internet, I can challenge them to realize that I'm not the authority and I don't know everything. Have you ever tried to teach a teenager how to calculate her own class average for her grade? She's failing a class and she wants to turn in an assignment, and she doesn't realize that average is average, and so she's got that disequilibrium, and she has to engage with that herself instead of me saying, here's what the average is, here's why it's not going to work. I let her wrestle with that and get uncomfortable with the information, and then I want that for my students too. I want them to feel uncomfortable so that they can take it in and chew on it and manipulate it and turn it into something that really is meaningful and authentic for them. I want my kids to take a risk. I want them to be risk takers when it comes to knowledge, so that they, instead of going through the scientific method of step by step by step, they go back and look at the question, and they are on these self-organizing project teams where they are working with other people and collaborating and generating new questions, so that not only are they becoming risk takers, but they're gaining a new understanding, and they're going through the process together in a collaborative way. In that sort of horizontal alignment instead of that vertical top-down alignment that we talked about. Finally, I want to generate opportunities for them to share and transfer their learning in new ways and apply to new technologies that I can't even imagine yet. I want students to be successful in creating knowledge that makes the most sense for their changing mind. In my sphere of influence, we ask if there's anybody listening. I hope so. I really want my kids to walk away from my class thinking, I can challenge information, and I can interact with information in new ways, and I don't have to just accept what's being told to me as the truth. I can investigate it for myself, because really all of that information is out there for them to get. What can I do to influence and change their behaviors? I want to give them identity as information seekers. As they walk away, I really want them to have built meaning for themselves, not just because I gave it to them, but because they took it in and it was for them.